beneath the golden sun of the African wilderness, where silence speaks louder than words and the rhythm of nature beats in its purest form. A story was about to unfold that would leave an unforgettable mark on everyone who heard it. This was not a tale about prey and predator. It was a rare, soul-stirring story of courage, mutual respect, and the silent language shared between the wild and humankind. Sarah, a 30-year-old American park ranger with years of experience in one of Africa's most unforgiving terrains, began her day like every other, patrolling the vast sanctuary, breathing in the damp scent of fresh earth and listening to the symphony of nature. The dawn air was cool, the sky painted in hues of orange and pink, and the sounds of unseen birds echoed above. With her boots pressing gently into the soil, she stepped confidently along the familiar trail. Her eyes scanned every movement, her senses alert, and her heart grounded in duty. This was more than just a job to her. It was a calling, a lifelong promise to protect those who had no voice. But that morning held a strange energy. Something felt off, as if nature itself was holding its breath. Then came the sound, faint at first, but unmistakable. It was not the usual rustle of leaves or distant thump of hooves. This was deeper, heavier, filled with struggle. Her pulse quickened. She moved off the path and through the tall grass, every muscle tight with anticipation. As she reached a clearing, her eyes widened. There, in a shallow, muddy pool, was Kudo, a majestic silverback gorilla known to her from countless observations. But he was not standing tall. He was trapped, coiled in the monstrous grip of an African rock python. The snake's massive body, gleaming with wet mud, tightened with every shallow breath Kudo took. His eyes, usually calm and wise, were now filled with panic. Sarah's breath caught. African rock pythons are apex predators, not venomous, but deadly in their ability to constrict. Once their grip tightens, blood flow is cut off, consciousness slips away, and death follows. She had never seen one this massive. It had to be over 20 feet long. And this snake had Kudo completely entangled. Time was slipping away. She remembered the stun device clipped to her belt, a low-intensity shock tool meant to repel without lasting harm. It might not stop the python entirely, but it could create the moment of hesitation she desperately needed. But just as she steadied her nerves, the ground vibrated, a low rumble. She turned. Emerging from the tall grasses like ghosts of the savannah came a pride of lions. Their golden eyes locked onto the scene. One after another, they appeared. Muscular, graceful, their movements fluid, their intent unreadable. Sarah froze. Lions were not spectators. They were predators. She had seen them take down buffalo and challenge rhinos. Now they watched her, the python, and the dying gorilla. But they did not attack. They did not roar. Instead, they remained still, almost contemplative. It was as if they understood the weight of what they were witnessing. Sarah's heart pounded louder than ever. Was this a trap of timing? Would they wait for weakness and then strike? Or was something else unfolding? The air was thick with tension. The python's grip tightened. Kudo's breaths grew shorter. And the lions watched, silent. Sarah knew the moment to act had come. With slow, deliberate steps, she approached the snake. The lion's gaze followed her, but remained passive. She positioned herself near the python's head, took the stun device in hand, and activated it with a quiet hum. Then, with precise courage, she touched it to the snake's skull. The reaction was immediate. The python flinched. Its coils loosened for a split second. Seizing the moment, Sarah lunged forward, grabbing one of the coils wrapped around Kudo and pulling with everything she had. The snake hissed, its powerful body thrashing. But Sarah did not stop. Her arms ached, her hands burned, but she pulled. Kudo, sensing the gap, pushed too. His massive frame writhed with primal strength. Together, human and beast fought against death. And then, the python began to retreat. It slithered backward, disoriented, slipping into the grass and disappearing into the wild. Sarah fell to her knees, breathless. Kudo lay still, panting. She gave him space, heart pounding, unsure if he would react in fear or pain. But then he lifted his head and looked at her. Their eyes met, and in that look, no words were needed. It was an understanding deeper than language. A thank you. A recognition ducked behind. Them, the lions stirred. But instead of approaching, they turned and walked away. Not out of fear, but perhaps out of respect. They had been witnesses to something beyond instinct. A rescue that transcended nature's hierarchy. Days passed. Sarah returned to her duties. She saw Kudo often, stronger now, leading his troop through the grasses. But the memory of that morning stayed with her. The snake's crushing grip, the lion's silent watch, and the weight of her decision. That experience changed her. And maybe, in some way, it changed the wild too. Not every day offers a second chance. Not every creature receives help. But sometimes, in the most dangerous corners of the world, a single act of compassion can echo, louder than 1,000 roars. This was not just about saving a gorilla. It was about connection, bravery, and the invisible threads that bind all living beings. In a place ruled by survival, Sarah chose something else. And the wild, in its quiet wisdom, responded not with violence, but with stillness. That is the true power of nature. That is the story of Sarah, Kudo, the python, and the pride that watched it all.